So we're going to talk about Java class, right? So first, let's talk about what is an object in Java first. You just need to understand an object, right? Because a Java class pretty much just represents an object. Okay. So that's why I want to start out with what is object, right? What is an object in Java if you compare to real world, right? And then we're going to talk about how to create a UML diagram to represent the object that we just talked about. And then how you're going to translate that UML diagram to Java class. You see that? There's steps, right? And then when we get into details about Java class, then we talk about what are the attributes, right? Which we just refer to object first then. So object composes of, we talk about the real world object. Everything that you see around you. For example, we're going to talk about a person today. A person is an object too. So a person could have different color, different name, different size. So this is called the characteristic of the person, which is in Java we call attributes. Right? Person has a name. Person has like different height, different weight, and so on. And we talk about object. Object should have not only characteristics but also behaviors, right? So let's talk about behaviors here, right? So behaviors of a person could be, behavior person. This person could be smart, or this person can, person has different functions. This person can be a teacher. This person can be a student, right? So that pretty much part of the behaviors of the person too, right? Different careers, right? Or functions of the objects. Now, let's look at when you compare behaviors of a person or of the real world object, we call the method in Java, right? We compare back to as the method. All right, two main things that object has for sure is characteristics and behaviors. Then we mapping to Java as the attributes and the methods. All right, so we're gonna learn how to draw the UML diagram here, right, to represent this object named person. And we're gonna use the tools, okay? The tools that we're gonna use here. I said I'm gonna use the Lucidchart, which you can sign up for free. Okay, you can just go to lucidchart.com and get your account to use the tool. So this is the Lucidchart here. So after you sign up, you sign in, you can just go to create new. Create a new document, and you should have a blank document. Okay. Now, this is an example of UML diagram that I'm writing or drawing or creating the UML diagram to represent an object named book. And you see UML diagram has 3 rows. First row represent the diagram name or class name, which is a class name is pretty much your object name, right? A book is an object. So let's think about the attributes of the book. Or the characteristics is the title, the author, and pages, number of pages. So this is an attribute in Java, which the second row we're gonna say title, which is a string type. We talked about data type already, so title should be string in Java. Author, name should be a string type. Pages is a number, right? Number should be a short. I use short because we're not gonna have like books that have more than 32 bits size, right? 2 to the power 32. Now we talk about the third row. Third row is the behaviors. So what's the behavior of the book? That's what it is, right? It's for user to read, right? Which we can add the behaviors, say, to read. Okay. If I want to add that, I'm going to draw it right here. Just double click. I'm going to add the method's name. Right, in Java we call methods, right? To read. And you have to think about what is this to read going to do? Like, is it going to return something? Okay, it could return. It could return something after you read. So return a string type. It could return maybe emotions of the audience or the reader, right? After you read, you have different emotions. You could feel sad. You could feel, how you call, scared. Or you could feel informed, right? So, or you will be entertained, right? Enjoy. So that could be emotion, right? Or instead of say to read, you can just get emotion if you want to be more specific, right? But I'm going to say after you read, you get this back. That's pretty much a function of behaviors, right? And also, the book should provide, if I want to get a title, I should know what's the title of the book. It should return the name of that book, right? So it's string. And you may see when you start to create behaviors, which is the methods. The method is pretty much a function. The function in math, we like to use the parentheses, right? To describe the function. Just like the previous class exercise we talked about, create a method or function, right? Like f of x, right? So instead of the name of the function is f, we can just name it to read, right? Now we also have get title. So get title is, we just mentioned, is return the title. That's why it's string type. And when you construct the UML diagram, this is the standard format. The name of the method, right? And you see the method has parentheses. Attributes doesn't have, right? And the type that is going to return. So let's see. The object book should allow the user to set the title, pretty much change the title. If you say yes, I will allow user to change the title, then you're going to include the method set title by passing the title, the new title name. But if you don't want the user to set, then you don't need to include this method. Then you can just erase it, right, off. So that's pretty much just the design, right? And then just look at the type now. It's void. So void, like when you void a check, meaning there's no values, right? So when you set the title, there's no value to return. Right, so it's not return anything, it's just going to update that. So that's why it's void. Same, the book can give you author name, right? When we get author, we get a string. We return the author name back as a type. Set author, pretty much if you want to allow to change the author name at that point, right? If you don't allow, then remove this method, right? Which is void as a type, right? Now get pages pretty much return the number of pages for that book, and then you can set the pages to change if you add more pages, right, to the book. You may see that if you want to include set title, set author, set pages, this is pretty much at the time of the book still not publishing yet, but still in the process of developing, right, or writing of the book, so we may have more pages. ToString. So ToString is a method that returns pretty much all the information of the book, like including title, author, pages. So it's going to include everything in a nicely string format. So that's why I just return a string type. So that is how we create a UML or draw the UML diagram. Now there's something that you have to know. We have the minus in front and plus. So it's very common that all the attributes going to be minus and the method's going to be plus. And minus pretty much just represent a private modifier, and plus is going to represent a public modifier. Okay. Now in the next level in 201, you're going to learn in more details why it has to be minus, why it has to be plus. At this point, just make sure when you construct a class, make sure that always put minus, because it's going to, we call the concept of encapsulation. It's going to encap, pretty much just protect this information, the attributes. Okay, but this has to be plus, just the same principle that when you do math.absolute, right, math.square root, then you let the user of math class access to the method, right? Same, then book, then we let other classes access to this, or it's open to public. Plus represent public, minus represent private. Okay. All right, so we understand the principle of the book. Now let's talk about person, right? So you need to construct a person UML diagram, right? And let's look at a person. It says person has 2 attributes. For now, person can have more. This is just the purpose of demonstration. Person has name. Person also has age. So we're going to have a person as a class name on the top. We're going to have the second row is the attributes, right, which is name, and type is string. So you see we use colon to separate it, and type come after, and this is private, we use minus. Again, all the attributes we want them to be private, right? Minus age, colon int. So we have 2 attributes for the person. So let's start to look at what should be the method of the person, right? Other functions. Think about when the person, this new baby born, is a person. We need to give the name to the person, right? So we have the method called constructor. This is a constructor. Constructor pretty much just initialize the value of the object, right? When you first born, person, when you have no parameters, right? This is the method with no parameters, first one. This second one is a method person with 2 parameters. So it's possible that I don't have the name for that person yet. Then we just not giving the name. We just do the person with the no parameters. But if I have the name of the person, then I call that. And if I happen to know the initial value of the age, I just pass that in. Like could be 1 minute, 2 minutes born, or 1 year old, right? As a person.